And all the time, God is good. Blessed is the man who perseveres under trial, because when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. When tempted, no one should say, God is tempting me, for God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone, but each one is tempted when by his own evil desire he is dragged away and enticed. Then, after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death. That's why we all have a testimony, a story to tell. Some we don't tell at all, and some we tell well. Some of them are true, and some of them are not. Some of them we remember, and some of them we forgot. For our lives are defined by our testimony lines. But see, we tend to recreate the past to make things different next time. But if we recreate the past, then how do we change? How do we rearrange life's page to grow up to act our age? And my life here on earth ain't been nothing to brag about. God blessed me with a good job, but I'd rather chill in the hood on the corner drinking Guinness Stout. I grew up in the church, but I covered my past with whiteout. That shout couldn't get out. I took the wrong route and thought life was all about me and my Drexel University degree. Forgetting the fact that I was black and how society expects me to act, I should have stayed strapped with my spiritual backpack on my back to survive the devil's attack, instead of being coolly high with a six-pack, living out scenes from Who's the Mac. With that corporate glass ceiling, I kept dealing and materialistically reeling, and what I saw they had was appealing, thinking that hole in my soul was healing while the devil kept stealing. Subliminally thinking that I was free, trying every drug from A to Z. I was too blind to see that the key to my future was shaped in the letter G. See, I needed to read the Bible from the beginning to the END to turn 180 degrees to plant the seed of my eternal life tree. But positivity definitely didn't agree with my negative side. I used to run and hide before I learned how to praise, pray, tithe, and cry. Waiting for my mental pain to subside, I suffered from a chronic case of false pride. I was like that wave of the sea tossed from side to side. I was a double-minded man, head stuck in worldly quicksand, thinking that my plan was his plan, but my hands not in his hands, but in the hand of the man with the fake tan, with the pen as mightier than the sword in his hand. I was trapped on a fantasy island land, a black tattoo, waiting for my plane to land, and I didn't understand that I needed to put all my trust in God, not man. Pain became my teacher, not God's preachers, along with police caravans, metal bracelet bands, hospital bedpans, lawyers worth 100 grand. I was moving too fast to stand. Still, trapped by my own will, with an empty space to fill, I was drowning like a fish with no gills. I wanted to take my 9 mil and end it all. But see, God wouldn't let me drop the ball, because even though my life was like Saul, inside he saw Paul, and through it all, he said, son, before I raise you up, you must fall. So I did. I put my bed in with the devil and backslid to a subterranean level that left me thinking that everything I had was sellable. It was incredible to experience the inevitable. The man in the mirror became my worst enemy. He was no longer a friend to me. I was a drone, alone with its circuits blown. God stood knocking at my door, but I wasn't home. I was headed for self-destruction, headed for self-destruction. Conjunction Junction had lost its function. I was stuck, and like Chuck D from Public Enemy, it made me mad, so I had to put the pen to the pad to give you something you never had. See, Michael Jackson was talking about God when he wrote Bad, because I should have been dead like Fred, like Curtis Mayfield said a long time ago. But God spared my life for a reason, and he said, go and spit this tight flow and let the whole world know that y'all don't have to go to the place where I chose to go. But we all must go through something before God lets us grow. And what God has for you is for you, and what he has for me is for me. And when he sets us free, we are truly free because of his blood shed on Calvary. There is no great Wizard of Oz of clicking 1, 2, 3. Only his grace and his mercy allows me to share me. I'm testimony.
Hey, sound familiar? Hi, I'm Harold Bell, and this is the Legends of Inside Sports and Kids in Trouble in the Way We Were. First of all, I'm a fourth generation Washingtonian. My family settled here in Washington, D.C. in the early 1800s. My great grandfather, the Reverend Alfred Johnson Tyler, laid the first brick to build Mount Airy Baptist Church in 1893. The Tyler House, 2 blocks north of the church, is named after my great uncle, the Reverend Earl Tyler. Mount Airy Baptist Church sits in the shadows of the Capitol. I have been working in the inner city with youth gangs and at-risk children for over 50 years. The foundation was laid in Mount Airy Baptist Church with my grandmother, my hero, Grandma Bell. We spent a lot of time in church, 3, 4, sometimes 5 days a week, because my grandmother was the chief bottle washer. She led the choir, played the organ, did the books, and we grew up with my grandmother because my mother, because of a deadbeat dad, couldn't take care of us in our early years. So we lived with Grandma Bell. What a great, great experience. On Sundays after church, after having a great, great dinner, man, those hot biscuit rolls, fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, potato salad, spring beans, green, man, that was something else, man. After cleaning up, we would head over to surgeon quarters, which was just a couple of minutes away, to visit the sick and downtrodden. On Wednesdays, we would visit the hospitals with Grandma Bell and my great uncle, Earl Tyler. That's where my foundation in the community was laid in the early years. So when I became a radio, television, talk show personality, I brought the community with me and not vice versa. You know, I have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to cops in the District, Maryland, and Virginia. In 1967, the first black D.C. mayor, Walter Washington, named Patrick Murphy as the first director of public safety. Mr. Murphy was an advocate of reform, particularly in regard to police corruption and race relations. He is the original godfather of police community relations in America. But 50 years later, Mayor Murray Bowser wants to hire a corrupt cop who is a poster boy for domestic violence as chief of police. She is running around with Eleanor Holmes Norton talking about statehood and home rule, and she can't even hire a decent police chief from around the country or out of her own department. Guess which profession is the biggest abuser of domestic violence in America? How about law enforcement? Meet their poster boy, Peter Newsham. Not only was he accused by his wife and girlfriends of domestic abuse, he was found on the street drunk with his gun in his holster. The hiring of Peter Newsham as police chief would set this city, known as the nation's capital, back 100 years. In August 2016, my nonprofit organization, Kids in Trouble, held its annual Police and Community Relations Forum at Ben's Chili Bowl. In attendance were law enforcement officers from all over the district, Maryland, and Virginia. White officers were invited, but they were no-shows. In 1967, I was a roving leader for the D.C. Recreation Department and a member of its Youth Gang Task Force. Mr. Murphy would meet with the roving leaders once a month to discuss ways for us to partner and help improve police and community relations. Now, the mayor wants to take this city back into the 18th century by hiring Peter Nugent. Now, make no mistake, there are some good cops out there. But they are allowing a few bullies and cowards to run the department. By no means am I anti-cop. 2 of my 3 brothers were law enforcement in this town. My older brother Bobby was a U.S. Marshal for 25 years, and my younger brother, Sergeant Earl Bullbell, was a D.C. cop for 14 years, and both were good cops because I demanded that they be that. One thing they had in common, they both encountered the thin blue line and code of silence during their careers. I, for example, carried a D.C. police badge for 3 days during the 1968 riots because my friend, Assistant Chief Tillman O'Brien, one of 2 blacks in administration in that era, was heading the 3rd District headquarters when he called me down during the riots and gave me a police badge. And I looked at it, I said, "Chief, what's this?" He said, "Harold, we need you to work with us. We need you out there with us because you're high profile and you may be able to save some child's life." I said, "Chief, hold it, man. You got to give me a gun if you want me to go back out there with this badge." He said, "Harold, I can't give you a gun, but you will be all right. Believe me, you will be all right." And I went out there. I was scared as hell, but not of the looters. I was scared of one of his cops shooting me because they were scared. You know, it was a rough time, and I understood that I did not want that job, and I couldn't wait to get that badge back to the chief. The badge just got me through police barricades and military barricades as I went about my work as a roving leader. But you know, when I hear police officers today talking about how tough a job this is and how they are not appreciated, let me tell all of you guys something. Remember, you were not drafted in this job. You volunteered for this job. If you're looking for an easy and safe job, drive an ice cream truck and be appreciated by the little kids. The corrupt information about Peter Nugent came out of the forum at Ben's Chili Bowl, and I immediately turned the information over personally to Mayor Bowser, Councilwoman MURIEL, and Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton, and told them where to look for the corruption. Now, what blows my mind is here we had 3 minority women supporting a corrupt and abusive guy for chief of police in Washington, D.C. It is evident to me many of us are not aware of the history of policing in Black America. It has its roots in slavery, when slave owners used to chase down slaves running to be free. Their arsenal was a vicious dog, a whip, a gun, and a rope for hanging. That same mentality moved into today's modern police departments, where the code of silence and the thin blue line was established to protect white officers as they continue to brutalize people of color. Out of those early departments, the KKK infiltrated, and the KKK is now the FOP. Both organizations were found to ensure the protection of white police officers in their odyssey to brutalize people of color. Police officers of color were not supposed to be a part of the equation, but you know how we go along to get along. The hiring of Peter Newsham will complete the police state of mind in the District, Maryland, and Virginia. For example, after the fact, when all the police involved in the death of Freddie Gray in Baltimore, after they were found not guilty, the Justice Department shows up, calls a press conference to tell us people of color what we already knew. Their press release read, the Baltimore Police Department is overrun when it comes to racism against people of color. Come on, man. The beat goes on. Wednesday, March 1st, 2007, just beating the close of Black History Month, 7 Baltimore cops were indicted on federal racketeering charges. 5 of the 7 were Black. The charges included robbing drug dealers and making a profit off the drugs that they confiscated. There were overtime claims where one officer doubled his salary of $85,000, man. These guys were a part of an elite group called the Gun Trace Task Force, a specialized unit created to investigate firearm crimes. Some of the people they robbed were law-abiding citizens. Let us move 30 miles down the road to Prince George's County, whose history of police brutality against people of color is legendary. It has been one of the most brutal police departments in America for decades. In Politico magazine in 2014, a published article called the Prince George's County Police Department, the Ferguson Next Door. In September 2016, I wrote a letter to Governor Larry Hogan complaining about cowboy cops running in packs of 3s harassing Black motorists in Suitland, Maryland. I sent the letter by priority mail with signature requested. As of March 2017, there has been no response from Governor Larry Hogan, who is definitely a part of the problem. I also made it clear to Governor Hogan that if he thought I was playing the race card, he could play undercover boss and check out traffic court in Upper Marlboro on any given Monday morning and see with his own eyes 10 Black defendants with 1 white defendant in court. And December 2016, I then turned to one of Prince George's County's biggest mega churches, First Baptist Church of Glen Arden, and its influential pastor, John Jenkins. This was not the first time. I also went to him to complain about the filthy, dirty nursing homes in the state of Maryland, where my brother, Earl K. Bell, ended up dying. I asked him for support in this matter with the police in Prince George's County. His response, Brother Bell, I am aware and concerned about these incidents happening nationwide as well. I have approached the issue by dialoguing closely and personally with the chief of the police department of Prince George's County. I strongly believe that dialogue and accountability is the best strategy to address this troubling challenge. I'm also in close relationship with the county state's attorney. Boy, that really sends off question marks in my mind. The state's attorney, Ms. Alsabrook, doesn't have a clue. When I read that her mentor was the former state's attorney, Glenn Ivey, I knew we were in trouble because of personal dealings with Glenn Ivey, trying to teach him about what was going on in the community. Pastor Jenkins goes on to say, I agree with your assessment that we have new avenues to speak to injustices in our society. I am prayerful and hopeful that our efforts will address and change the injustices that our communities have been facing. Pastor John Jenkins. That is that email from him sounds like he was building his own little power base. Why wasn't his congregation included in these talks with the chief of police and the state's attorney? Now, those of you in Prince George's County that claim you are the richest county in America, let's keep it real. You don't have anybody in power and control in the government in Prince George's County. Think about it. Pastor Jenkins is talking to and dialoguing with the police chief who has been there for decades, meaning that he is a part of the racist brutality that has occurred on his watch. Prince George's County reminds me of the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, overrun with black folks. But there's no ownership. We have one black owner out of all of those sports franchises. One token black owner in Michael Jordan. Magic Johnson was just hired as the president of basketball operation for the LA Lakers. Guess who his first hire was? A white friend. And he says, okay, so it's okay to hire your buddies. But look, let me tell you something. When you have this type of leadership and ownership in the NBA, and you got qualified black general managers that you know because that's what they do. They hire their own, and it's not racism. They want to be with people they're comfortable with. Do you understand that? So the hire by Magic Johnson, man, it was a little over the top to me. I'm concerned. You know, somebody came up, well, they need a Rooney Rule in the NBA. No, you need more black players, guys like Magic Johnson, to pull their weight and demand ownership. Demand ownership. Magic Johnson played that little role in Major League Baseball as a minority owner, like James Brown. They were in no decision-making positions on those baseball teams, the Washington Nationals or the LA Lakers. Now Magic Johnson is in decision-making position with the Lakers. So we got to stop faking folks out how much we're in charge. You know, I look around and I think back to Pastor Jenkins talking about he was dialoguing with the police chief in December 2016. Well, guess what happened 2 months later? In February 2017, I turned on the television on TV5 Fox News, which has been in the forefront of calling out these police departments in the District, Maryland, and Virginia when it comes to racism. Well, on this particular day, there is a black Prince George's County police officer on Fox News with a black hood over his head. His voice, he mumbles to disguise it, talking about racism, the rampant racism in the Prince George's County Police Department. He's scared to show his face. He doesn't want to be recognized. Now here is a cop scared of his colleagues. What position does that put us as regular citizens? We don't stand a chance. He has a gun and he's scared. You know why he's scared? Because he doesn't have any backup of other black officers in the Prince George's County Police Department. So yes, he puts his life on the line by going on TV, Fox, Channel 5 News, and pulling the cover off the Prince George's County Police Department. And now while we talk about Fox News being biased, my thing is, where's Bruce Johnson of Channel 9? Where's Sam Forward? Sam Forward of Channel 7. Where's Jim Vance of Channel 4? Where are these stations when it comes to protecting our people? Yep. We got a lot of problems, folks. We need to wake up. There are some confirmation hearings in the district building. I understand. Coming up next week. I think that's the week of the 6th, 7th, 8th of March. We need to be there in full force, saying enough is enough. And if any of these city councilmen vote for the confirmation of Peter Newsom, they are definitely a part of the problem and not a part of the solution. Where is the Congressional Black Caucus? Where is the NAACP? Where is my man, John Lewis, a warrior and a hero in my eyes? We got to stop whining about Donald Trump and control what we can control. All of them need to be on Muriel Bowser's case with this appointment. I'll be there. Well, That's going to be it for the legends of Inside Sports and Kids in Trouble in the Way We Were. I am my brother's keeper. And I'm Harold Bell. And you can color me gone. Until next time.